Hey, Shutter Squad, welcome back to the One Behind the Lens. Okay, real talk for a second. Wedding photography. It looks beautiful on Instagram, but what people don't talk about is the pressure behind it. Like, you get one shot. It's some of the biggest moments of someone's life. No redo, no let's try that again. So, in this episode of The One Behind the Lens, I am sitting down with wedding photographer Marissa Naylor to talk about what it's really like behind the scenes. We're talking pressure, client connection, finding your style, and why clients aren't just booking your photos anymore. They're booking you. Let's get into it. So, Marissa, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I am I'm glad that we could actually do
Do
this.
it.
Yeah, it's been, no one knows except us of how many times we have had to reschedule due to
Yes.
mainly weather for both of us.
Yes. Yeah. Snow at like stupid times of the year that you would not expect, or rainstorms when it's like end of
Yeah.
April. Like, why? Like, why is that
Why?
weather the way
Right, right.
it is?
Yes, yes.
But anyhow, no, I'm so glad we're doing it finally. So here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah. So, for listeners meeting you for the first time, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, where you're based, and the heart behind your photography business?
Yeah, so my name is Marissa Naylor. I am the lead photographer behind Marissa Naylor Photography. So we're based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, as well as Quinte, West Ontario, so Southern Ontario for those who, it's a big province in Ontario. So, and I really base myself in wedding and brand photography. So, why I do wedding photography is really just the emotion of couples and storytelling and seeing stories come to life through couples and just the progression of their love story from when they first met to when they get married to when they have a family and just everything in between. So that's what drew me to photography 10 years ago and still drives my why to this day is just seeing people's emotion and seeing them with their friends and family on their wedding day and just leading up to their wedding day and just everything that encompasses that love story. I just absolutely love. So I've been doing it for 11 years and I started as a side hustle. Two of my family members got married in 2015 and they handed me a camera and they're like, hey, do you want to come shoot this for fun? I'm like, what is weddings? What is wedding photography? What's photography? Let's just start there. What is
Oh, right.
photography? And so when I photographed those two weddings, I was like, oh, like this could be totally a viable career path and something that I could do while I'm doing my university studies, which I did alongside photography. And over the years, I just grew more of a passion for it. Again, seeing people's emotion, building connections, and just really getting to know people through a camera lens, honestly, is just the sweetest thing in the world. So that is really the heart of what I do and why I do it, but also just, yeah, why I do it every day and why I do it every wedding season and going into this year. So.
So when because you're saying that they handed you that camera and you were like, okay, what's photography? What's wedding photography? So then are you totally self-taught?
Yes, so I have taken probably two photography courses in my entire life, which was all in high school. I was really fortunate to have a mentor in 2015 who gave me that camera gear that summer of 2015 when I graduated from high school. And he was like, hey, go shoot for fun. And like he gave me like tens of thousands of dollars of camera gear, just go shoot.
Wow.
So like it was really nice to learn something that wasn't just a point and shoot, I would say. Like it was on like a Canon 5D Mark III with a 24 to 70 lens. Like it was a nice
Wow.
set.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but that wasn't the set I grew up on. Also, I grew up on like a Canon Rebel T5, 18 to 55 kit lens, the good
Sure.
old stuff that you get from the camera shop. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so that's kind of really when they gave me the camera, I was like, okay, like, how do you even work this thing? And so I really have learned off of a bunch of YouTube, Pinterest, like you name it, I've done it. And that when I started my business, I again just wanted to see people smile in front of the camera and just want to build connections and like tell a story. And it has grown into something so much bigger than that now. So
I love that.
yeah.
And you were saying that then when you were in school, it was your side hustle.
Yes.
Did you know when you were doing this as a side hustle that you wanted this to be a career, not just a side hustle.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I like work alongside entrepreneurs in like my day job. So photography isn't a full-time thing yet for me personally, but I eventually want it to be that. And so I keep it as a side hustle because I just genuinely love having something on the side that can just drive my creativity as a marketing professional during the day, but I definitely didn't see it taking off to the degree it has today. And like if you would have told the 2015-year-old Marissa that this would be the like the path that we would take, I would probably like laughed at you and I'd be like, "Oh, like you're hilarious," because like that's not going to happen. And so I think it's just like a little bit of a self-reminder too that we can really truly do anything once we put our mind to something, but also just like you don't know what you want to do or what you want to do with your career, like anything creative until you do it. And like for me growing up, I didn't really feel like a creative person. I like could draw, I couldn't paint, I couldn't do anything in that sense. But as soon as I picked up a camera and I knew the basics of like shutter speed and aperture and ISO and all these things and the perfect
Sure.
triangle and all that kind of stuff together, it's like I knew that I could do this, but also just make people feel good. And that's like the biggest thing for me is like I just love connecting with people and just really getting to know them and their story. And that if I can piece that all together with a camera in my hand, like I'm the happiest girl in the world. So like truly that was me in like 2015 when I was trying to learn everything, but also
Hmm.
when I was given that camera gear of just like give me the basics and I'm gonna go on YouTube and figure out the rest. So
I love it. And I love that you were, because I feel like, when you're like growing up, well, as I feel like a lot of us, when you're growing up, like it's like, what are you going to be when you grow up? And
yes.
I
Oh my
feel like
gosh.
a lot of times, you're like, well, I have to pick one thing, like, where I feel like
Yeah.
we can be a lot of things. So you're talking about photography, you're talking about your marketing, and you're doing these things. You're doing both, and
Yeah.
you can if you want it, like it.
Exactly.
And I love that, where
Yeah.
you don't have to just be like, oh well, this is my job, so I can't do wedding photography because
And
I'm
I
doing another thing.
Something else. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think like for me, I know I wanted to do marketing because I was doing photography and like I went to school for strategic planning and which I use in my
Mm,
day job every single day in various different ways, but I got into photography and photography now has built my marketing career and
mm,
I did not see those two dots connecting at all. Like I never like I didn't know what a business plan was. I didn't know what a marketing strategy was. Like I obviously knew social media because Instagram has been around forever, but like truly didn't really know what that looked like in promoting myself and promoting my work, but storytelling that until
mm.
I really started photography and grew that during my university studies and like was able to kind of bring that circle together over that like 6 year period when I was studying and doing photography.
Mm-hmm.
But
So for somebody that is, say, has like quote unquote their day job, and they
hmm
want to maybe be a wedding, they love the story, they love the, like you were talking about, like the connection of seeing that the love of the
yeah.
couple and all of that. If they would want to do that, how do you kind of balance
Hmm.
that? Do you only take certain amount of weddings a year, or?
Yeah, no, I only take a certain amount of weddings per year. And now that I'm expanding into more of a team sense, so there's going to be like not just myself, but two other photographers joining me within my brand,
Mm,
that I can take on more weddings to serve more people because I've had my demand grow a lot in the last 5 years, and that I'm terrible at saying no to people. So I'm just like, yeah, sure, why not? But I think that I just be really niche and specific with who I want to take on and really what their story is and do I connect with that as a person. And
mm,
so for me, it's really getting on a Zoom call with all my couples or going for coffee. And if we click in the first 5 minutes, it's pretty clear to me that we should work together. And if we don't, then I honestly like I just send them off to a referral list. And here in Winnipeg, there's like hundreds of amazing photographers. Like there's so many photographers in our area here in Winnipeg that I'm easily like very happy to pass them off to someone that just would be a better fit. And so for me,
mm,
it's this very specific amount of weddings and also what's their vision for their wedding day too. Like I'm very much a candid person that goes with the flow. Obviously, like your formals and your family photos and your wedding party, like those are all key moments, but really
Mm-hmm.
just going with the flow so you can really enjoy your wedding day and not feel like you're being rushed from one thing to the next. So I think that's like how I really gauge what weddings I want to take on and even sessions too. And then kind
Mm-hmm.
of like defining that of when I meet with couples, but just really trying to manage that capacity wise too.
Sure, sure. So when you say like candids, easygoing, all of that, so and you said that you do the kind of the formals, but
Yeah.
it's mainly are you just maybe like a half an hour of formals or
Yeah.
not
So
even?
I mean, I kind of structure my wedding days with my couples to get the formals through family wedding party, which usually takes about 2 hours total. I mean, it's in gaps typically.
Sure.
But like the wedding ceremony's planned, but it's also candid because moments are going to happen in that you don't realize. Reception is probably the most candid thing. The
Right.
whole wedding day is the reception. So like, I think for me, it's just kind of getting my couples to the first look if they do a first look and really just making sure they're at ease through that. And that's really candid too, where they're always moving, they're always looking at each other. Obviously, they'll look at me for a few formals, like I always say for like grandma and mom and dad who like really want that on their wall and like 5, 10, whatever years, like that's important. And like I know for my wedding day, like I love those photos especially, but I think the really true photos to me as a photographer is when they're laughing and when they're looking at each other
Mm,
and just like you can see they're in love just through their smile. And like when I
sure.
see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my heart can like literally melt into like the floor. Like it's just so cute to me. So I think I try and get them to that point in like their engagement session and they know when I'm showing up that I'll help drive the wedding day absolutely because that's what we do as wedding photographers is help drive the wedding day. But
Mm-hmm.
when it's time for your first look and for your ceremony and reception, like I'm hands off. Like I'm like, you do your
Mm,
thing. I'm
mm-hmm.
gonna watch it all unfold, but when it's family photo time, like it's military style. Like we're going in and we're doing it, like we're getting in and out. Because really, couples just want to spend time with their family and friends. And like if you can have
Right.
30 minutes of your cocktail hour having a drink with your best friend that you have seen for 10 minutes of your wedding day, like that's exactly what receptions and cocktail hours are for. So,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I just love that.
Yeah. So going to, you were kind of talking to, you kind of said something a little bit earlier about like turning clients into friends.
Mm,
What
yeah.
does that mean to you personally?
So it's kind of funny because I ran into a couple clients throughout like various different things. I'll be at the grocery store, even like at like local markets that we have here in Winnipeg or local events. And I'll run into clients and I'll just see their face and remember their name. And for me, if I don't remember your face, remember your name, like I haven't done a good enough job as you as a photographer to you as a client. Like truly that is
Mm,
the line that I cross with my clients is getting to know like not only your story, but like you as a human being and you and your partner, but your name, your story, like your relationship, like that really helps drive your wedding story and who you are as a couple and like your photos. So I think for me, getting to know that is how they become friends. And so seeing them in public, like I give my couples a hug the moment I see them in person. And like it is, and people like probably are like, oh my gosh, like you haven't even met these people. Like they're strangers technically. And I'm like, yeah, they are. But like also you're gonna be spending 10 hours of your wedding day with a stranger if you look at it,
right.
right? So it's like
Right.
I have to make a stranger feel comfortable in 10 minutes. And if they
Hmm.
don't like me, then they're gonna go to someone else. Like it's pretty
Right.
straightforward in that, right? So I think for me, it's just making them so welcome that like they just feel like they're coming into a friend. And I think when you get
Hmm.
to that point in like your client experience, and for me, when I got to that like 5 years ago, it was just world changing. And so I actually photographed a family a couple weeks ago and I did their wedding in 2023 and like seeing them have a family now and then they also do like announcement photos and like their engagement and like
Oh.
the whole circle like
Hmm.
it's just heartwarming and like when I go out with my husband sometimes and I'll run into people and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you know so many people." I'm like, "No, like I just have a lot of friends." Like and I don't even refer them as clients at that point. Like they're truly just friends and like it's so
Sure.
nice because they no, just to give me a hug. Like we'll be at a formal
Mm.
business event and they're like, I'm not giving you a handshake. I'm just gonna give you a hug. I'm like,
Oh,
perfect. I'm like, that's what I
right.
like. Like I don't, I'm
Right.
not a handshake gal. Like if you know me, just give me a hug.
Right.
So
Right.
it's so nice to like have that line and like even in everything I do, like that's what I really pride myself on is like I just want us to become friends so that you know on your wedding day or anything you're doing, you can just come to me and ask for something and hey, I can see if I can give it to you and if I can't, then like I'm gonna find someone else that can. Because I think there's
Right.
just that's the biggest thing about photography is it's more than just photos.
Oh, definitely. And and I feel like you making them feel welcome, making them already feel like a friend. I mean, I feel like everyone, when you have a camera in front of that, and put in front of you, even I get where I'm like, oh, this camera in front of me, like everybody turns awkward.
Yes,
Even if
100%.
you might not be awkward at all in real life, but you can. So I think it's helpful that you're turning that into right away into like
Mm.
I'm a friend with I might
With a
just
camera in my
happen
hand.
to have a camera. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I think that as soon as it's a scary shift though too. Like I just got my branding photos done a couple weeks ago and like
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue what to do with my hands. Like
Right.
truly I was going like this. Like I was
Yes.
touching everything. And one of
Yes.
my good friends, Bennett, who was doing my photography photos, she was like, are you nervous? I'm like, well, yes, because I'm not in front of the camera often. I try
Right.
to get in front of the camera like every month because, social media content and things are
Sure.
happening, but it is like super scary. And I actually tell all my couples too, is like, I recognize this is a scary experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
show up for their engagement session, I know they're going to be awkward. And if they're not, I'm checking a box that I rarely check. Like I'm just like, oh
Right.
my gosh, like this is super fun. But it's also
Mm-hmm.
too that it's okay to be nervous. And I think like telling couples that just reassures like it's okay. Because I think that especially right now in the wedding industry, there's so many like you have content creation, you have like always had
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest and all of these like expectations for your wedding day. And it's like at the end of the day, you're just getting married, the two of you. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is truly what your wedding's about. And just like even for a session, like you want photos for your family wall. Like that is
Right.
truly why you have photos. So I think like bringing it back to that through like again, just I have a camera in my hand. I'm just an ordinary person and just coming to photograph your wedding or your engagement. And I think just keeping it really, I wouldn't say basic, but just really genuine is really helpful for couples because really it's a scary experience if it's your first time or if it's your
Mm-hmm.
fifth time, you're still nervous because it's like you're having something big pointing at your face and you have to like smile and like look at each other. Like that's a scary experience when you think
Right.
about it. So yeah,
Right. And I
but
do think now, probably even now, because we are in the age of social media, it probably is almost because I feel like we have expectations as people who are getting photographed because
mm,
you're seeing, and I feel like then during the session, it's like, am I looking like like you
yeah,
just, I feel like it
100%.
could be a little bit of a added pressure because I even do that. Like if I get like and then I'm like, that's what I looked like, like
Well, and everyone's judgmental too, right? Like we're our own worst critics. Like
yes,
truly, that's why like
yes.
when I even post videos of myself on social, I like literally take like 10 takes to do it because like
Hmm.
everyone has to have the perfect angle, you know? Like it's like that's so
Hmm.
false, but you truly feel that, especially as photographers, because like you want to show your real side, but it's also scary to do that. And I
Right,
think
right.
that taking that leap of faith for me 5 years ago of like posting more on social and posting really like my true like life and what I do and why I do it. Like it just lets people in. So when people come to a session or wedding, like I love chai tea lattes and all my clients know
Mm,
that. And so
mm.
like when you have clients bringing you chai because they know you like
Like
chai, like
chai.
you've hit the pinnacle of your career. Like truly that's what I think.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and like that's how much like people care when they
Hmm.
really get to know someone. And again, like when you're spending 10 hours or 12 hours or 8 hours with someone that's a stranger on your wedding day, they're no longer a stranger by the end of the day. Like they know everything of your life story. And you also see a lot on wedding days too. Like you
Hmm.
see a lot of stress as much as you don't want to see it.
Hmm.
You see sometimes family tension, you do see a lot of emotion. So I think just seeing that all come to life, but also like being able to help is just the best thing about our jobs too as wedding photographers.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
So I wanted to ask you about a little bit about like the connection between athletics, because you kind of mentioned
mm,
that a little bit. So
hmm
like athletics, marketing, and creativity, and like how that kind of helps you like show up for your clients.
Yeah. I mean, sports requires and has just genuinely a lot of pressure. There is a lot of things in sports. Like for me, I 10 pin bowl with Team Canada, so it's very much when you are bowling in a world championships, like you're not going to be nervous. And I think in wedding
Mm,
photography, I still remember the day, my very first wedding, seeing that bride hit the top of the aisle walking down. I was more nervous than any other bowling ball I've ever thrown in my life. Like
Oh,
truly,
wow.
I was like, if your camera gear dies, if your SD card, and this is like 10 years ago, so it's very different now experience, but still like those
Sure.
memories are still true that it's like you have one shot. And if you don't get it or if you something happens, then like it's on you. So I think just that pressure I always have loved as an athlete. And I think taking that experience, same thing into wedding photography is just a very similar correlation. And I think knowing my creativity through photography and driving my marketing career really just tied all that together. And athletics has just always been a part of my life. So it's kind of just a nice circle of who I am and what I do. And obviously, like my
Mm,
husband's a very important part of my life. Like he helps me do all those things, but it's also too that's just very they all connect like little dots and it all tells a story. And when my clients get to know me, they know all of those things and they kind of see of how that all comes together, which we're always more than just a photographer. And I always say that to like my fellow photographers too, like you're more than just your photos. Because I think we
mm-hmm.
sometimes get lost behind our work too. But
Mm-hmm.
um when I started photography 10 years ago, though, it was through bowling actually, and then kind of
Oh.
got me into university because I've always wanted to go to university. I wanted to get a degree, but I also still wanted photography. And so I still want to connect all those dots together. And I think over 10 years it's just kind of naturally done that. But in photography wise, I missed a provincial championship in 2015, and that's when I was given the camera by my friend of like, hey, do you want to shoot for fun because I wasn't bowling and and I was like, well,
Mm.
sure, I guess I'm gonna be at the bowling alley, so why not? And
Okay, okay.
that
Yeah.
is truly when I picked up the camera for the very first time. And then my cousin and my sister got married that same summer. And that is when truly the dots all connected. And like I was like, okay, like this is something much more than just photography. And I after I booked my first few weddings over those couple of years and then really took it more seriously in like 2017, 2018 is when I really saw the potential of what could be what it is now, which as I said earlier, it's much bigger than what it is than I ever thought it was going to be. But I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
shows you what you can do when you really believe in something, but also when you just genuinely love what you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
So kind of going with that, when someone, and we were kind of talking about the stepping in front of the camera, when someone
yeah.
steps in front of your camera, what do you hope they walk away feeling?
Oh my gosh, I love that question so much.
Good,
Um,
yay.
the biggest thing, honestly, is just they have had the time of their life and they just met someone new that feels like is like their next best friend. Like
Mm,
truly, that is what I hope every single client, couple, family, business, anything of what I shoot, that they come away and they're like, I just met another person and I just met a best friend that I could text for my photos in the next 10 years. And that
mm,
they also feel so much like just gratitude and love towards himself because photography really is a self-reflection of who you are, but what is your love story and just your partner and you or your business. And so really just getting photos that you love and that when they receive those photos, they literally remember the moment that everything happened. So
mm,
when you
mm-hmm,
are hugging your grandmother right after you got married and 5 years from now, your grandmother passes away. You remember that moment
mm,
hugging her the moment you got married. Like that
mm,
gives me chills even right now that I just can't explain. And when couples send me messages or send me photos or send me just emails and they're like, hey, like I see this photo and it still brings me back to 5 years ago. It just that stuff makes me cry. Like truly, like
mm-hmm,
I am such a softie that that just hits me right in the heart. And I think that's the biggest thing when people work with me is they feel good, they love smiling, they just feel even more in love with each other, and
mm-hmm,
they just want more because
mm.
I am such an overshooter too. So like I will shoot like chronically overshooter, as I think we all are, but I
Yeah,
mean
yeah. It's
either way.
yeah, right.
So I think that when I just overshoot or do sessions or weddings, like I love editing it, especially because it just
Mm,
sees that story all over again. So when people can
mm-hmm,
smile and again see those photos and just say, "Hey, I remember doing that," or "I remember that," or "That feels like
mm-hmm,
yesterday and it's like 10 years ago." It's like if you can bring you back to that moment, then I've done my job.
mm-hmm.
So,
Well, and I feel like with a wedding day, it is so big and there is so much going on
hmm
that you might not remember everything, but then,
totally.
just sitting and just being like, I'm just remembering. But when you're I'm just chronically like thinking of it. But
Yeah.
when you open up your album or, and or look at the pictures on your wall or whatever, then yeah, it does bring you back. And I feel like probably most people, when you're getting photographed with loved ones or friends or anything like that, and then if you do lose them, you at the time you might not be thinking about that, like, oh, I want a
Mm,
picture with my grandma because
100%.
you know but then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have that photo.
I literally tell my couples that, so I always send out like a pre-event question or pre-wedding questionnaire, which outlines
Mm,
all your family photos. And I'm like, this may not seem like a huge deal on your wedding day. It may seem like it's actually just taking up time where you can be having a drink with your friends.
mm-hmm,
But I tell them, I promise you, 24 hours after your wedding, even 10 years after your wedding, you will be so grateful that you got all of those family photos. And so,
mm,
as much as it is military style, as I mentioned earlier, it truly is. There's like 2 seconds in each of those photos that is just gonna live forever. That will honestly be more important than any couple photo in the entire
mm-hmm,
wedding day.
mm-hmm,
And as much as I personally love to post couple photos and like that experience, it is you hugging your grandparents, hugging your parents, hugging your siblings, looking at each other. Like it's those photos truly why photographers and like myself do what we do. And that it's that 30 minutes or 45 minutes on your wedding day that seems like it's taking up so much of your time, but you are going to look back and frame all of those photos. Like I know for me, when I got married, I look back on those photos and I sent them to my grandma right away. And my grandma was like, this is truly the best. Like we have never had a full family photo of everyone on my mom's side until
mm-hmm.
that moment. And it's been 10 years plus before that happened. So I told when I got married, I told my photographer, I'm like, this is just, I know it's gonna be a pain getting 50 people together, but like
Sure.
truly is like the only photo I want in my entire wedding
Mm,
gallery. And so I just remember that a lot when I do wedding formal photos and like family photos and just everything of that caliber, that this is just so much more than 30 minutes. Like,
right,
and I also remind
right.
my couples of that too, because you get so tied up in the moment sometimes that you just forget how important that something could be until it's not there anymore. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but
So kind of going back to like your business growth and all of
mhm.
that, what has been one of the biggest challenges in building your photography business, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that it's just you're always growing, but you're always learning in the midst of trying to learn how to run a business successfully as you learn your skill.
Mm,
So, like photography, I mean, a lot of my friends have gone to school for photography, and like I said, I'm self-taught, and so really just staying up to date with like workshops and really what I wouldn't say what is trending, but what is really swaying couples and what is really important to couples and being in tune with that in the midst of running a business. I think that's the
mm-hmm,
hard thing to balance is that the business is so important on the behind the scenes end, as we always say as photographers, but what
mm-hmm,
is making couples feel and important to them right now. So never losing tune with like my clients and what they want, but also still knowing that like, hey, you have a whole business side to run too. So I think
mm,
for me, when I first started, it was really the business side. And for me now, it's just really just shooting as much as I can and just really choosing the shoots and the people and the styles and everything that I want to see because when you have so much demand, it can kind of get caught up into what you really want or just getting tied up into what people are coming your way, but still remembering what you serve and what you do. So I think kind of
mm-hmm.
balancing those two things of shooting and behind the scenes work, so to say, and just also using like AI to your advantage. Like
Oh
as
yeah.
much as like that is scary as heck to say as a photographer because
Right,
there's so
right.
many AI photos and you whatever is out there. Um, Using that in your admin to really help you so you can shoot more. I think that's
Mm-hmm,
the challenge nowadays is just really understanding how to, for me personally, serve my clients from a personal standpoint still, but automate some things so it's not sound like a robot. Because I
right,
think a lot of things, especially with wedding photography, it's so luxurious that you never want to seem like a robot when you're talking to someone. And
right.
that is like my fear actually of AI with photography is that you're gonna sound like a robot and your clients will be like, this isn't Marissa, this is a
Mm,
robot. Like that's
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm,
my terrifying thought in a sense. And so I think
mm-hmm,
that's the challenge is just kind of managing those two things, which I think is ongoing for any photographer, to be honest. Like
mm-hmm.
you always want to shoot more, but then you have all the computer work to do and like just
Right.
especially in busy season, it's just like you're on a hamster wheel all the time. So I'm like trying to balance that and slow down is probably the biggest thing I would say, especially going into this year in our biggest season yet that we just really want to focus on.
Right, right. And you're talking about like the AI and automation and things like that. And it is a thing where like even if you do some where with automation of just having the reminder of a session or like an email that goes out that says, on your wedding day, don't forget these things or whatever. But it's
Yeah,
like that you're not sitting there having to
do
write
that.
write that, but you don't want it to, but like you said, you don't want it to sound like a robot, but
Yeah.
the automation of it definitely can can help.
It can help. And you know what? There's totally personal ways to do that. Like I'm already doing that personally in like my own life outside of business, and it's very
Hmm.
helpful. But I
Hmm.
am very particular in just understanding too that your clients pay a lot of money to have you as their photographer. They didn't pay
Hmm.
you to have a robot do their work for them.
Right.
And as bad as that sounds coming out of my mouth, like it's so true that
Right.
like you just really want to be careful of that. And so
Hmm.
I mean, Lightroom has generative AI, so if something's in the
Hmm.
background, you can use that. That like saves my life so much more now, for sure. But
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
like just using it in the right way and like it's kind of just figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I think that's the true behind the scenes of what we do as photographers and even what we do as entrepreneurs is that you still are self-employed and you still are running for yourself. That don't lose why you do and what you do, but also
Hmm.
still trying to maintain and everything and the quality of work that you truly want to do with the demand that you have coming in.
Right. Like use it as a tool. Don't like use it as like another employee.
Exactly. Like don't use it and abuse it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that in some industries like tech, absolutely use it and abuse it. Like that's what it's meant for.
Sure.
But
Sure.
in photography, it's so different. And it's kind of funny because bridging those gaps in my life of like marketing Marissa and photography Marissa are very different in that. And
Sure.
so
Sure.
when a lot of my like entrepreneurial friends will be like, oh, just like automate that. And I'm like, it's not that simple when you are dealing with someone who is like treating you and like is like becoming your best friend because you are photographing their wedding day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and there's just some things you can't automate. Like
Yeah.
there's just something things that, yeah, you're not gonna have that. I don't know. Again, that personal where like they're gonna know this is not Marissa, this is a
It's a
robot.
personal touch thing too. And
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it takes 10 extra minutes or it takes 10 extra seconds. But I always say to myself that 10 extra minutes or seconds is making a difference in someone's life and they are
Mm,
trusting you even more because you are putting the time into them. And the fact of the matter is with photography, there is so many of us across the world that you can just go to another photographer, but
right.
someone is coming to you because they trust you, because they love your style, they love you as a person. And if you can really serve that and live up to that, then you have done your job. And for me, that's literally what it's about. So if that's a 10 extra minutes at 11 p.m. on a Thursday night to send an email, then like, so I'll do it because it's
Right.
just going to make that person so much happier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you kind of touched on style. I was just wondering, for photographers still trying to like find their voice
Mm,
and their style, what would you want them to like hear today?
yeah. Don't feel like you need to be perfect and don't feel like you need to figure it out overnight. For
Mm,
me, like I'm into this 10 years, I'm still figuring out my style. Like
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
truly there are sessions where I'm like, I like that a little bit warmer, I like that a little bit cooler. Like there is so many things. So just really keep your mind open to whatever style you feel and like let yourself grow with your style. And
mm,
so for me, I really, really, really felt towards the warm tones and the candid and the just really timeless look many years ago. And I truly just felt that when I was editing a random session one day, I was like, hey, like this is it. And truly, I think it'll just come to you. There
mm-hmm.
is so many documentary photographers that are so good in Winnipeg that they do it so naturally. And I like truthfully cannot photograph like that, but I can make a
Mm-hmm.
timeless look that is warm and candid and know that I can make you feel good. And so it's kind of just like picking your niche of what you want to pride yourself in, and just that will help determine your style. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
again, it takes so many years, so many months that just keep your mind open and try different presets, like totally download presets from other photographers who have presets out there. It's not a bad place to start. Like truly,
Mm-mm.
I remember just like using Lightroom Basics 10 years ago. And then I bought my first preset and I was like, my world has just changed. And I'm like, this is
Right.
ugly. And I look back now and I'm like, why the heck did I do that?
Use that. Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
but you truly don't know until you deliver a gallery and you're like, okay, like I like this, I don't like this. And your clients will also see your work develop over time. Like I vividly remember a wedding that I shot in COVID where I was just really hitting my peak of growth. And
Mm.
when I had found my style truly in that like 2020, 2021 season, basically when the world was shutting down, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you photograph that one session or one wedding that just appeals to your eye, that's when you're gonna see it. And so my
Mm.
biggest advice is just give yourself time and don't be perfect because no
Mm-hmm.
photographer in any industry or any place is perfect. As much as we try to show our real selves online, our perfect work, like there's always messy work out there. And for me, it took a long time to find what I liked. And
Mm-hmm.
when you find it, you'll truly like feel it too. And your clients will see it too of what you really like and what you draw to as a photographer.
Right. Right. And I do feel like now, especially now with social media, yes, clients are they're looking for a certain style. They are gonna look and be like, okay, I am drawn to the warm tones or however, whatever they're drawn
Yeah.
to. But then they are gonna really look at your social media to see you as well.
Yeah.
Like they're not,
Yeah.
it used to be like you just put your photos out on there and it's even now for me to be like, just put even behind the scenes of a session. And it doesn't have to be a long, it could just be a quick little
10
snippet.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you just having a conversation to the camera about something, but they really want to see you.
They want to see you because I always say if they see you, they're investing in you. Like when it
Mm,
comes down to the top three photographers in a client's brain, it's at that point it's not style, it's personality. Like
mm-hmm.
truly who are they going to connect with at a 10-hour wedding day or an hour session that they can come and be like, you know what, Marissa, like I'm feeling super nervous. Can you help me? And
Mm-hmm.
that's no longer style. That's personal. Like that is like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like let's take a breath here and like calm down before you walk down the aisle before I go get ready.
Right,
So like
right.
that is really for me. And I even tell my couples that I was like, you are going to be nervous. You'll be stressed. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally
Mm-hmm.
why photographers are there is that jokingly, I always say photographers are also planners, which is like not always the case, but sometimes we do have to bridge that gap a little bit.
Sure.
And I think just being able to show your true self online is what sets you apart marketing wise, but also just really brings in your true client to your personality because they get to see you as a person and not just as the photographer. And I know for me, it's actually like hard for me to show the true realness sometimes because like real is real and like you kind of almost like
Right.
want to try to not show everything, but it's like,
Right,
hey,
right.
like I say to do that, so I'm gonna do that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's also hard to get behind the scenes sometimes at photo shoots. Like I
Yeah.
always forget. And like, um, I even tell my clients sometimes, I'm like, guys, I'm taking an Instagram video, truly, like just keep doing what you're doing. And they're like, okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
great. And so I
Yeah.
tell my couples because I t feel terrible pulling out my phone in the midst of like a nice flowing session, but sometimes it just has to happen too. So.
Right, right. And I feel like now, like they're probably like as long as you're telling them, like they're totally just like, oh, sure, fine.
And they understand
Well,
like social media is a thing. Like
yeah.
that's the thing too, is like 10 years ago, me pulling out my phone at a session, I would be like, oh my God, I'm not too sure about that. But like
Right,
now I'm
right.
like, it's almost like a second nature that they're like expecting you to pull your phone to take an Instagram photo. And like, I think also just being transparent with people about that too is just like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
like I need content. I run a business. I might take a
Right,
clip. If you're not comfortable with it, please let me know.
right,
But
right.
like 9 to 10 times people are comfortable with it, but still making sure clients are always comfortable with it is like number one priority for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, just yeah, just honestly putting your phone camera on your phone to get content, but trying to manage those two, I would say is another challenge of like content and just running the session and just putting the content in the back burner until the very end of the
Mm-hmm.
session and then grab a couple clips while they're doing
Yeah. Right, right.
it.
Yeah.
So, uh,
So I kind of do like a little segment that is like a little rapid fire.
ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
So I will just like throw these out. So don't like no overthinking and just kind of what comes
What comes
first.
first?
Okay.
Okay, I love it.
I feel like I already know this one, but coffee, tea, or something else entirely on a wedding day.
Oh, tea for sure. Actually, on a wedding day, Coke. On
Oh,
a wedding day specifically, totally Coke. I go
okay.
Coke or Diet Coke. One of my associate shooters is like a big Coke fan, and she will not drink Pepsi. Like she literally
Oh,
asked me
sure.
before a wedding, she's like, Marissa, they better have Coke. I'm like, I know, but like I don't know if they're going to have Coke. Like I truly don't know. So I think there's also a lot of Winnipeg photographers that will probably agree with me on that one. It's like Coke is the thing.
That's
But yeah, on a
interesting.
wedding day, it's
Okay.
totally Coke. I
Coke.
don't drink
Okay.
coffee. I drink a lot of chais when I'm editing. So a lot
Okay.
from like my Instagram story, people were like, "Oh, like she has a chai." No shock on that one because she's
Right.
probably editing. But on a
Right.
wedding day, probably Coke for sure.
Coke. Okay. A marketing habit you swear by in your business.
Showing my face online and being as real as I can.
Bowling alley or wedding dance floor, which has better energy?
Oh, wedding dance floor, not even a competition. Sorry to my bowling family on that one, but like it's not even a competition.
Lens you'd keep if you could only choose one forever.
Oh, forever. I actually don't
Mm.
have this lens yet, but I know I would keep it forever as a 24 to 70 2.8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say my 7200, but it's just too much telephoto sometimes if you're too close.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If your life were a movie genre, which genre would it be?
Oh my gosh, I don't watch enough movies and I really wish I did right now. Um, I would say I would say drama. And I say that just because a lot of my friends always tell me like show the fun part or not fun parts, but like the outgoing parts of my life that I don't show enough. And so
Mm,
that kind of reminds me of like doing that, but also it would be drama for sure.
okay. Okay. I love it. I love it. So I have my final like little segment that I do is the photo confession booth.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. So you're going to step into the photo confession booth,
Okay.
and this is where you confess like a blooper behind the scenes, something that
Mhm.
happened that you would like to confess today.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't. I'm blanking on like every single thing now. I'm just saying that. Oh man. I would say the second wedding that I ever photographed, the first kiss was completely blurred out,
Mm,
because my shutter was too slow. And so yeah, that was my second wedding ever, 2016 May. Still won't forget the date if even if you ask me. Uh,
right.
and yeah, my shutter was too slow. I was in a really low light situation, didn't have a flash yet, so I just cranked that ISO like it was grainy as heck. And yeah, the first kiss didn't turn out, and I had to let the couple know that I was like, "Hey, I totally missed your first kiss," and they were like totally fine with it. They're like, "Yeah, it's all good." I was like, "Wow."
Oh, well, that's great that they weren't like,
Yeah, so I was really lucky, but like also today, that's also like the biggest pet peeve of mine too, because it's like, okay, hello, don't screw this up. But
sure,
also
sure.
like you also learn and you grow because that was like my first year doing photography. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd also say
Mm-hmm.
always forgetting to take the lens cap off.
Yeah, I
That
know.
one.
I just don't ever put a lens. I know some people are like, "What?" But I don't ever put lens caps on my lenses because I'm so afraid that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, on my 35, I never put a lens cap on it because that's like my baby right now and for the
Mm.
last 5+ years. But on every other lens, I have a lens cap. So
Hmm.
my second and associate shooters always know my 35 is always available because there's never a lens cap on it. And so they just
Oh.
know to pick it up and go if they ever want to use it. Versus like every other lens, they're gonna be like, okay, there's a lens cap on this. So
Mm. Well, Marissa, this was so much fun.
thank you. Oh my
Thank you
goodness, it was
so
like about
much.
time to do all this because it was like so long we've been pushing it off.
I
So I'm like so
know.
excited to bring it all together.
I know. I'm like, it's actually happening. And I'm like,
Thank
it
you.
it, it happened. We did it. Nothing like
No, I
I was
love
like,
it.
is there I wasn't gonna say it before, but I was like, is something weird gonna glitch just because we've had, such a crazy
Everything.
time.
Everything. No, this was actually so amazing. And it's so nice to do it too with like someone who's in a totally different industry too, because it's like
Mm,
there's so much correlation between industries of like different wedding and brand and senior photography or portraits or families, whatever might have you. And so I think just knowing that all types of photographers can always come together is so cool because I think we forget that
hmm.
sometimes, especially in the wedding industry. I feel like sometimes we get so focused on weddings that we kind of forget that like there's other parts of photography in this like encompassing creative role that we do. So,
Right, right. And what
uh,
I've learned so much about doing this podcast is like we're not like we're all running our business, we're all doing our thing, and we can have a conversation and we can learn things about the business, we can learn things about each other, and Yeah, it's not a competition. There's no, I mean, there, because you could even, if you had a conversation with someone right next door, it's again,
Mhm.
we're all just here.
We're all just figuring it out. And that's why
Yeah.
we say to photographers is that someone is also just trying to figure out how to get started, how to move the needle forward, how to get their next client, how to make the next $1,000, like whatever it is,
Hmm.
how to
Hmm.
photograph their next dream shoot. Like for me, I would love to go to Italy or Greece to photograph my next dream wedding.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so it's like figuring out how to do that, but also like you're just never alone in what
Hmm.
you do in photography. And I think that's also the beauty of photography is just knowing you're never alone. And
Hmm.
that there's always photographers no matter where you go. There's always someone to find, or a vendor, like a blind planner
Hmm.
or a florist or a makeup artist, content creator, whatever. So I think
Hmm.
just knowing that makes it a really fun, collaborative community space that is like always nice to be a part of. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but yeah.
Well, thank you again, Marissa. It was
Thank
so
you.
lovely. And yeah, I love this conversation. You're my first like really wedding photographer on the podcast.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think this will be a good one for the listeners. So
I love it. I love it. No, wedding photography is super fun. It is obviously sometimes stressful, but it is always worth it in the end, especially when like you wrap up galleries and you see everything go out. And it's like the movies of like, oh, like oh my goodness, everything's coming together. So it's really
right.
nice. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but
Before we wrap up, will you just
mhm.
tell anyone where to find you, like on social media and all of that?
Totally, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Marissa Naylor Photography and my website, which of course has all my portfolio. So www.marissanaylerphoto.ca. And I'm also on TikTok, but my Instagram is the handle to ever get a hold of me. Send me a DM anytime. I always love good conversations about anything and everything. I've had the bowling conversations go on too. So like literally anything. But yeah, Instagram at Marissa Naylor Photography is where you can find me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks
Amazing.
again.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
If this episode hit for you, and I have a feeling it did, take a second and think about this. Are you showing up as you in your business, or are you hiding behind your work? Because at the end of the day, your photos might get someone's attention, but you are what books the client. If you loved this episode, please share it with a photographer friend. You can tag me on Instagram. And you know what? Don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. And make sure to also follow Marissa on her Instagram and follow along on her journey as well. All right, Shutter Squad. I'll see you on the next one, which will be a little surprise announcement from me and my photography studio. So stay tuned.
Shut